Hi guys. So I had some different content in mind for today, but today is the 16th of May, and since I can't forget dates, I would have to talk about that today. Okay, so why is 16th of May important? Because 8 years ago, 16th of May was when my father passed away. And I know I can talk a lot about him, it would fill a book, but I won't take that much time. I'll just talk about like three small things. Okay. First thing, everybody thinks their father is the perfect man. I know that my father was not the perfect man, but he was nevertheless a great man. And how do you know if your father was a great man or whether you are a great father to your kids? Two simple questions. Do you want to be like your father? Secondly, if you were like your father, will that be a great thing for the society or will that be a bad thing? In my case, both the questions are answered with yes. So if I'm half the man that my dad was, I would be immensely proud. And yes, it would be a good thing for the society.
Summer's gone, I'm latching on. Don't even know your name.
Just wanted to ask about this one. Are these disposables or use and wash?
Your body oh so close. No, I can't forget, no.
The second thing that I want to mention is the India's victory in the World Cup final of cricket in 2011. And that credit goes to the captain at the time, Mahendra Singh Dhoni. My dad was a big cricket fan. He used to love watching it. And because of that, he was really happy, and I am happy that he got to see India get the World Cup again before he passed away. So that credit goes to Mahendra Singh Dhoni, and I'm forever indebted to him for bringing that joy to my father. And after, I also happened to watch that game online, because I don't usually watch cricket, but at that time I was hanging out with the wrong crowd, so I ended up watching. But then after that, on the weekend when I talked to him, I was able to discuss the game with him, and I was able to discuss the whole how India was all happy, and I could hear the grin in my father's voice over the telephone. It was so good. And the final thing that I want to talk about is this stupid movie that I watched a while ago. It's called Wind River. It's called Jeremy Renner in it, Elizabeth Olsen, which was one of the reasons why I watched. Like, these two guys, they are in Avengers and all that. The movie is mind-numbingly boring, absolutely stupid. But it had one thing which made it all worthwhile for that 2.5 hours. So the movie itself, it deals with the crime of one girl who gets murdered, and this Wind River is like an Indian reservation or something. And then there is Jeremy Renner, who is also dealing with the loss in his personal life, and then he meets another person who also lost a daughter. And then this guy tells Jeremy Renner something that made perfect sense to me at the time. He says, don't just focus on their last moment, just don't focus on the loss. You lost your daughter, which is true, and you're never going to get over it, but don't just focus on that, because then you lose her, then you really lose her. You have to think of all the moments that came before that, all the joy, all the happiness, all the moments that you shared with her. So that made perfect sense to me, because if I keep thinking about my parents and losing my parents, then that's it. That's very sad, and I will always be just sad about it and nothing else. But before I did lose them, there was a lot of time, years and years, when I did have them, and I should remember some of those moments as well. So that movie helped me to get some perspective in that way. And that actually reminded me, sorry, I'm just going into the last, I said only 3 things, but just hold on one more second, this is the last thing. One thing that I remember, when me and my dad, we were hanging out when I had gone from UK to India to just visit my family, and by this time we were friends. So as I think everybody goes through with their dad. Our relationship went through different phases all through the years, but by this time we were quite friends. So we are talking about things. We're talking about martial arts for some reasons, and I'm talking about, and we got to this point like, if somebody grabs you, then how do you get free from that? So I'm telling him about the technique that I learned when I was in US and I learned martial arts. It was the Tang Soo Do, and this is, and girls and guys, you should also pay attention to this. So if somebody grabs you like this, what you do is you turn your hand so that your bone, this bone, is at this point where they are holding, where their thumb and finger meet. And once, so if somebody grabs me like this, I'll bring my hand here and then I can break their hold. So me and my dad, so we're talking about this, and then somehow we start arguing about this. And because I'm very friendly by the time with him, so I go like, okay, come on, grab my hand, I'll show you. Because I can't explain to you, I can't make you see my point, so grab my hand, I'll get free, and that'll wait. So he grabs my hand, and he's like about 78, 79 in that range, okay? Grabs my hand, I bring my bone here on this point, but I cannot free myself. And I am in my youth, kind of, and he's an old man. But when I tried too hard, I could completely lift him out of the chair. The chair and he was sitting, I lifted him completely off the chair, like at least a foot. But I could not get free of his hold. That's how strong he was. And his strength, I think, came from the physical strength that he used to have in his youth. So he never got over that. He used to be a wrestler when he was younger, hobby. And also because of his inner strength, his core strength, he was very honest, very truthful, and that made him kind of fearless. He was never afraid of anybody, despite their money, their physical strength, or anything. So that, I think I'll stop with that. If I keep going on, there are like 1,000 stories that I can tell you, but maybe some other time. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this nice, bright, sunny day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.